Welcome to the Subconscious Elements podcast. I'm Scotty P, and I'm here with my co-host, Tori Setliff. Today, we are on the 11th gene key, and we are excited to get to it. Tori, I'll let you start us off.
All right, so the 11th gene key is at the shadow frequency Obscurity, and through transmuting the shadow frequency, we move towards the gift, which is Idealism, and then further than that, we have the Siddhic level, which is Light. The 11th gene key is actually in the codon ring of light, which has 3 other codon rings with the 5th, 9th, and 26th gene key. The 5th is going to be timelessness. Then we have invincibility and invisibility. And then we have light with the 11th. The specific amino acid that relates with this one is threonine, which also sequences with that code of light. And then we have the pituitary gland, which is basically a pea-sized gland that sits in right below the brain and the hypothalamus. And this regulates our hormones and all of the glands in the body.
The hypothalamus, what?
Yeah, just the hypothalamus.
What'd you call me?
And then the programming partner for the 11th gene key is the 12th gene key, and the 12th gene key, the shadow frequency is vanity. So basically vanity you have at every level. It's basically identifying with the egoic self. But yeah, so the shadow frequency of the 11th gene key is Obscurity, and Obscurity is basically the fascist regime of the egoic self. And this is basically that person that sits in the center of our screen inside of our mind and kind of controls everything. And so it was saying that the ego basically controls light and sound, and it only allows us to see what it wants us to see. So it can obscure and differentiate our realities based on our perceptions. So
it's essentially like explaining how different people experience different things, even though they were all at the same place. Like, especially if it's like a fight, like the fight always plays out differently in each person's mind, and like what started it, and right. So that kind of, to me, that's what it was explaining, like how people can exist in different realities all together, but have different memories and witnessed different things. Like you wonder, it's like, okay, how is it that what I saw happen is different than what you saw happen, as opposed to what this person happened? And it's like, you can never figure that out. But what you do know is that every person saw it differently, right? Especially if there's like a disagreement. And then it's like, so how is it that you can't even get the 3 to agree on the facts on how it happened, right? So to me, that was like a great explanation of that.
yeah, I was saying that basically it's a virtual reality of the self, and that saying that all of our perceptions are different. And but it was saying, so if we want to move away from the egoic self, that luckily it can be dissolved, but it's a very delicate process that takes a lot of time and letting go. And so it's basically whenever you can see yourself from an outside perspective rather than identifying with the self and identifying with what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. And so
Not
not
this
that
is
I would
also
know
a
anything.
relationship podcast, guys.
So yeah, seeing from a different perspective, not either side of the argument, but rather a third person perspective. So neither side is right or wrong or good or bad, good or evil. It's that there's only answers and truths in both sides. So
He was talking about the Vesica Pisces, and that's like the geometric explanation of what we're saying, which is 2 circles that are different cells coming together to form a third self in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
It essentially forms like this.
Yeah, we used to do like this, and then the medium in school.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, what do they have in common type of thing.
Right. And he's saying that's like a fundamental piece of reality is that everything is essentially a Vesica Pisces, like a mixture of two that come together to create the third, and that everything has like this format to it somehow, some way. I don't know, just very reminiscent of what we're saying.
Yeah. And yeah, it's basically just being detached from your own perspective so that you can even allow the other perspective to have its own space. And then through understanding the other side, you can come to a third perspective. And
Interesting.
yeah, so it was saying that at the reactive state, we have, what is it, delusion or deluded? Oh yeah, let's do the repressive first. So the repressive energy is going to be basically all of the unlived lives and dreams that you once had that don't have enough space to manifest. And it was saying that these unlived lives can actually physically drain your daily life. And that it's actually weighing you down because you're not allowing yourself to express yourself in the ways that you know you should or could or want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have experienced that. It's like you have these expectations for yourself and you're looking towards the future, but you're not making the steps to get there.
Right. And I feel like that's why you have to chase your dreams, right? It's like, and I really feel like he's hanging out with us because we're vibing real high right now. He senses what is happening. He's like, there's some
healing energies.
Yeah, because Tori knows. He usually runs away from me. He's like,
yeah. Especially him. He usually hangs out with me, but he never really lays with Scott like that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. He senses my enlightenment. Snap. Okay, so what were we saying?
The fantasizing and unlived lives and
oh yeah, so it's like I find that if you have this thing that you want to do, if you don't do it, it's like worse. The consequences are worse than if you did it and failed. It's like at least if you did it and failed, you could like put the idea to rest, you know? But if you never even got to try it, it's always going to be with you. And you're like, man, well, what if, you know? And then that like the fact that you're not doing it and if you should have done it and could you have done it?
And keep thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like something that you talk about and no one wants to listen to you because you're never doing it. And I think that we've all been through that. And it's like, I mean, that's, I feel like why we're here today is because it's just like something that we're just called to do. And it's like, Tori, we have to do these things. We have to. Or otherwise, like, you know, it's like at least if we do it and it fails, like again, at least we said
we're trying.
Yeah, or at least we're trying, you know? And if this thing fails, it'll lead us into the next thing. This will be one small skill part of something else that we'll create. But one of the cool things is that honestly, when you do it, it like supercharges you. If you can start to do it, it's like it motivates you to do it. It's like, yeah, I'm fucking doing it.
That's what we saw in the other gene key. I'm pretty sure it was the last one we did, but it was talking about the momentum thing and the difficulty in the beginning, how basically it's really difficult to start, but once you start, you've already built the foundation to keep going, and then you can just keep compounding and compounding.
You say, why you stop? Fair enough.
And yeah, so that was the repressive nature, and then the reactive nature is being unable to let go of the image that you have in your mind and holding it so tightly that you're not allowing it to express itself in whichever form it's going to manifest. Mm-hmm. So basically you're like, oh, it has to turn out this way, and it's playing out and it's not turning out that way, and you're just getting angry, and this anger is like holding you back and creating blockages.
To me, that sounds like two things that I've seen people do. One is this idea of like, sometimes people will have like this crazy standard of what they imagine their girlfriend should be. And then it prevents them from just like having any girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, no one can really tell them. It's like, dude, that's way above what you're capable of, you know, or like that you should like work yourself up. It's like, let's just get you what we can get you. And then when we build your confidence, we can move up or something like that, or you'll see it like where like someone is like trying to do a business or like trying to be successful, but they're just like super stuck on the specific way it has to happen. And you realize this a lot, like when you learn about like manifesting and trying to get, when you're trying to, lead your life a certain way or, bring things about, you're supposed to let go of exactly how it happens and be open-minded to the different possibilities, right? And that was like one of the biggest things that I took from it was it gave two really key words. Yeah, you're supposed to let go of how, and I'll be open-minded. So wasn't one of the main things here is being like the fundamental piece to being creative is having structure and an open mind. I think that's what it said.
Yeah, it was saying that they'll use the outer world to hide from the inner world. So they're like projecting out onto the world, but they're not listening to the inner self. And they're creating from this externalization rather than going within and reacting from truth and like their own personal destiny.
A more authentic self.
Yeah. Whatever they are meant to be expressing, they're not doing. And this, in turn, just leads to eternal disappointment. And yeah, it's just basically the attempt to externalize a false dream, which is seen as a veneer. So basically just a shadow. Or, something that's hiding the truth.
Veneers seem nice, though, if you got the money.
They do, but I feel like sometimes they're too bright. I see these old people and I'm like, put them things away. You're about to blind me.
Well, then it's like weird to think that you'd purposely pick a couple shades darker so it's more natural.
Yeah. So it looks a little normal. That's what I'm thinking. Trippy. They look brighter than a newborn baby.
I would just be scared of having them for so long, but I guess it's
I feel weird too.
Yeah, it's like
you never know what's happening under there. Well, they do shave them away.
Yeah, right. So it's like you're taking away your real teeth, and then it's like.
So what is manifesting under that, though? You never know.
What if there's ever like a point in time where you just don't have a dentist?
Yeah, dentists stop existing.
Then you're one of those guys that have fucking soft teeth, old soft teeth. He only gets to eat applesauce. Like, not only did you make it to the end of the world, but you're the guy that can only eat applesauce because your teeth are all jacked up.
Can't even make applesauce at that point.
Yeah, well,
all we got are real apples.
Yeah. Well, no, then we can make applesauce with apples. No, it's like the only thing we got though are the expired ones.
Oh yeah.
None of the good applesauce. None of that.
Trust me, the applesauce, no one's gonna go for it. So there'll be plenty left over.
Yeah. Applesauce lasts a long time, right? I'm sure there's like an applesauce in some cans that'll last fucking.
Gotta find a factory around here somewhere.
Yeah, full of applesauce. Oh, shit, right? We'll all be eating Twinkies at some point.
I don't know.
Okay, so where are we at with this thing?
So we're moving from the shadow to the gift frequency. I was saying that basically this gene key is related to the right side of the brain, and the right hemisphere of the brain is related to the feminine. And the feminine is related to the darkness. So it's pretty paradoxical because the gene key is about light, but in order to reach light, we don't go outside of ourselves as we're led to believe with the Christianity and religion. We actually have to go deep within and inward.
Into the darkness.
Into the depths of matter itself, because that's where the deepest light resides. And only through darkness can you eventually get to light. It was saying that that's what people do once they reach Siddhic level. They can manifest as a teacher. And the very thing that these teachers do is lead people directly away from the light in order to get to the light.
Right. And that's trippy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna do a darkness retreat or what?
Let's go. No, I definitely want to do a darkness retreat. That'd be fun.
I think maybe I guess I have to be more than one day to make it work, right? So maybe 3 days.
Oh, yeah, you would have to go at least 3 days to a week.
We can't just start off with a week. We might as well do 3 days.
I think you could handle it.
I don't know.
I feel like if you're gonna do it, you might as well just go the whole week.
Oh, hell no.
Why are you
Not
gonna do
a
it in
whole
the...
week.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I
You've
gotta fucking-
reset your whole body.
I got a whole life. I gotta
They
live.
say that if you get in the darkness, it'll like help your body make you like age way less. And then you come back with like a longer lifespan because you're just resetting the entire body. Your telomeres and everything have time to regenerate and they're not being overstimulated and broken down.
The telomeres tell you that?
Yep.
Oh, shit. Man. 7 days in darkness, huh? Or 6, 7 or 6?
Go underground, live in a little hole for a while. Just pretend you're a rabbit. You'll be all right. They do that.
See, here's the thing. I've actually experienced what it means to like wake up in pure darkness and not think that you're alive. It's super scary. You realize that light is what ties you to this realm. It's like without light, you would not know you exist. The first thing that lets you know that you're alive is light. You take away light, you like forget that you're alive. It's hard for your body to be like, I exist.
Yeah, because you're just in like feels like a void.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you're so used to light letting you know that you exist, when you're awake and you can't see, you can literally be clutching and you're like you can feel everything and you know that you're there and you can't really go anywhere because you can't see anything. So you're like, you're not just going to get up and walk, but you'll just be like, it takes you a minute. It takes you a minute to be like, oh shit, that's right. I'm wearing a mask right now, but it takes a minute. So for a full minute, you're like in this panic state. You're like, oh, I'm dead. I don't exist. Even though you can feel, you're just like, I don't exist because I don't see anything.
Yeah. And then they feed you basically like only once a day and it's like a vegetarian diet.
Oh, hell no.
And,
I better fucking feed me. I need some comfort food. Man, no, I gotta go the way Aubrey Marcus went, where he was eating 3 times a day on the clock. That way I know I'm like okay, so
no,
8, 9
they
times.
switched the times. They weren't consistent with timing.
Oh, okay.
So he specifically said
But
that.
if he knew that he was still getting 3 meals a day.
Yeah, but even his 3 meals a day, it was like an apple and some veggies or something. Or like one time it was like a smoothie with extra coconut oil. He said he needed some healthy fats. And then he ended up pooping himself for hours. Yeah, no, the darkness would be interesting. I feel like that would be the time to connect to the unity consciousness and try to tap into past lives.
I'd be very careful about what you imagine connecting to unity consciousness is going to be like, because you'd be like,
could be obscurity.
Oh, I want to do the most healing, and then it's like plunges you into the depths of hell. And
Yeah,
you're like,
well, that's
oh dear God.
basically the whole thing of this gene key is like, you want to receive unity consciousness, into the darkness you go.
Yeah.
Literally into the deepest recesses of your mind.
Yeah. Super crazy. Well, and then I kind of wrote down, it was like saying how like through light we gain clarity. And it's like that whole like light. Through light we receive clarity, and as we process light through the pituitary gland, it stimulates our imagination. And man, that was making me think about that light therapy that we did with the meditation.
Yeah.
I think is her name Kendra? I can't remember. I gotta double check, but
yeah, we should link her information or something.
Yeah, she does this like light therapy that just blinks this light at you, and you have your eyes closed, and then you just start seeing like crazy kaleidoscope, and all it is like a blinking light at different frequencies, and then it makes all these like shapes and patterns, and I swear I started to see an image at one point, and it's like, man, that's like crazy.
It was super intense, and then you talk to her afterwards, and she's like, no, your mind did all of that. Like the only thing that this machine was doing was radiating a certain frequency. And so that unlocks this like light consciousness, light body, rainbow body, whatever they want to call it. But it was insane. It was like a EDM disco party in my own mind.
Yeah.
It was almost too much at one point. I was like, holy cannoli, this is not going to stop. I'm going to exist here forever. I'm going to just be in this freaking rave party for the rest of my life. I was like, how long is this thing going? I don't know if I can withstand this.
Well, I was scared. I was like, if I
Me
open my
too.
eyes, am I going to get LASIK or
Yeah,
something?
I don't know.
I was like, is these colors healthy for my eyeballs?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. But yeah, it was intense for sure. And they have different settings too. I'm pretty sure the people that went after us, they did like DMT disco party or something. And I was like, oh, hell no, what did we do? Like, what was the name of ours?
It was like Color Storm.
Yeah, we did Color Storm. But theirs sounded more intense. I was like, I salute you, my friends.
Yeah. Super funny. Yeah, that would be a fun experience to like eat some mushroom chocolates and then go.
I don't know about fun, but it'd be an experience.
Yeah. I don't know if I could keep the tears from coming out because, like, yeah, that light's pretty powerful. It's like making me tear up a lot. It's like, man, if I eat mushrooms, I don't know if I could.
It felt like you were tripping anyways. And kind of.
It'd be nice if there's something that held my eyelids down.
Yeah, maybe like a light mask or something.
Yeah, or just something that just kind of like held my eyelashes down and I could just
because my eyes were twitching a lot.
Yeah. If I could just fucking blink out and then like this like on a timer so that way I don't have to worry about like being
keep going forever.
It cooks my face or something for an hour or something. It's been like Scotty's been under that light for 6 hours. I'm like,
this is mine. Have you all seen that SpongeBob episode where he's in his house and he got the jellyfish disco going on? He's like, yeah, that's literally something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're talking about illusion, delusion, obscurity. Got into a little bit about vanity. I mentioned how we have to have a creative outlet. And
it's been a theme for a lot of these.
Yeah. And I think that's obviously a huge piece to keeping the sanity, right? And it was talking about essentially that you get these archetypal energies and that a way to deal with them and to get them out of you, to express them is, through a creative outlet. And I feel like that's why people attach to hobbies, I think that's why everyone's got to have like a thing. And most people that are in like, have like a healthy relationship with their life or reality, they usually have like multiple creative outlets. Yeah,
because just doing one can even be burning out at a certain point. So you need 100%. Multiple. And there's different levels of, like there's one for mental, there's one for physical, like having different outlets for different times.
Aspects.
Of
yourself.
Because you're not always going to want to do something physical.
Right.
So you can't always play lacrosse or you can't always play whatever your sport.
Lacrosse? What kind of bullshit?
Some people like lacrosse, right? You can't always go ride a horse.
You can't always go play some pickleball. I saw some funny reels about it. It was like these pros there's like pros now and they're like
in pickleball.
Yeah, in pickleball and they're like super famous and a lot of people are commenting like, wasn't pickleball for old people because they didn't have to be athletic, and then now people got pickleball trainers and everyone's like, like smashing the ball because it's now like cool for like younger people to play.
So now it's like athletic.
Yeah, now like everyone takes it all serious. They're like wearing headbands and like smoking these old people, and they're like,
next thing's about to be racquetball.
Yeah, it was supposed to, pickleball was for old people, so, cause tennis is too hard. Yeah. And then so now, like, all the people who could never play tennis, like young people are just like, yeah, tennis is too hard. Let's just play pickleball. And then all the old people don't get to play on the courts no more. Like, back in my day. Oh, man.
Your time is now, old man.
Freaking pickleball. And there's like always jokes about like the pickleball trainer and he's just like making them like shuffle around and like touch cones. He just like, he can't even play.
Yeah. So moving towards the gift frequency, we have idealism. And this is where the dreams start to manifest into reality. And it was saying that we can feel the pressure of our ancestral past through images and dreams and memories. And these ancestral memories that are coming up, it's they have sometimes lain repressed for millennia. And so we're tapping into something that hasn't been uncovered for a long time. And I was just saying to see the images that come to you in your dreams and to kind of try to understand them. And I try to do that whenever I'm sleeping and I wake up and you're in like a 10-minute sleepy stage where you're kind of awake, kind of not. If you like close your eyes again and you kind of go back into a light dream state, maybe you hit snooze on your alarm, you can like tap in and remember some of the images that came to you and try to maybe tie something to that and maybe try to understand something, because it could be a message from someone, somewhere, something in some time before or after you, trying to relate to you or trying to tell you something. And yeah, we saw this a lot in the Avatar, where he could just tap into the, what do they call it? I call it the morphogenetic field, but I'm not sure what they specifically called it, but it's basically when you tap into a different field of consciousness and you can get information from people that have lived in different times, and they can give you key pointers to how to go forward or something of worth to help you towards your evolutionary process.
Yeah.
Or give you their past experiences, and maybe you can learn a lesson from that.
Yeah. The archetypal energies kind of reminds me of like the tarot cards, right? Where it's like using the archetypes to kind of paint a story of information that might be useful to you.
Yeah, I haven't gone super deep into the tarot cards, but I know a lot of people have, and it's becoming more and more popular, at least through social media and stuff. But Deja Blue, the girl that originally got me connected with the Gene Keys, she actually took a huge break because she's creating her own tarot cards, and she's putting a lot of effort into each card. She's actually like creating the artwork on each card, and she says it's going to be at least a 6-month to a year process. So she's just tapping into her creative energy through that and putting her own podcast on hold and trying to deeply understand the tarot. So that's definitely something I'd be interested in learning about, because you hear about it and then there's a lot of like stigma against it where people just kind of write it off. They're like, yeah, whatever that is. And they don't actually give it enough time and space to try to understand what it could be. And it was basically saying that the gift frequency, the magic, this is where magic can happen. And for magic to manifest into the reality, it only needs space to do so and an open mind. So
that's what I was trying to say earlier. It said magical truth only requires structure and an open mind.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of earlier, but I put it in a sentence. So I was like looking for 2 keywords and I didn't realize I put it in a big old sentence. But yeah, structure and an open mind for magical truth. I think that's pretty cool because, yeah, you always got to be open-minded when it comes to like spirituality and the cosmos and the universe. It's like if you're closed-minded, you're just not going to get it.
Yeah, that was a big key thing for me, learning that all of the answers that I put to questions in my own mind may only be one point or one perspective. So understanding that we can redefine these things, and or at least understand that there could be multiple answers or answers that we can't even come up with. So leaving that open and allowing these things to define themselves through time. It's like, oh, it's written in the stars or it's written in the past. But no one really knows. At least in this reality, I don't think anyone knows. Maybe they do in a different reality, but I think we're all just as youthful. So we don't live that long anymore. At least we're told that people have lived for thousands of years in the past, but in this lifetime, it seems we can only live to about 100. So whatever information we can uncover in that point isn't as much as it could be.
Yeah. And then it was bringing up the whole thing with the totems and the spirit animals. And it's cool when like you read information that kind of like confirms something that you had like either read from another source or experienced yourself. Because me and you have been messing around animal totems for a while now. It's like we kind of realized the power of those, a while ago. And we've been collecting totems because it seems like wherever people are like settled at, like towns and stuff, they all like embody their own little animal. And so we've been to a lot of different places over the years. And so every time we go there, it's like whatever animal that they're pushing, whether it's the coyote, the moose, the snake. We should go get them and show them on the camera. But we've collected a number of totems: the moose, the Sasquatch. What else have we seen?
Mine has always been ladybug. That's been mine since I was a little girl.
Yeah, I've been rolling with the snake for a while. And then I feel like a lot of us too also embody like multiple. Obviously, we embody multiple animals, and then maybe like if you're like super advanced, you can like tap into the whole animal kingdom. But I definitely think that like
Dr. Doolittle.
But we definitely like represent like, I think all of us relate to like more than one, you know, because I know that some people like, you know, they're like they get eagle and wolf vibes, because all of us kind of relate to like a bunch of different ones, right? Like I've always gotten a little bit of the wolf for like the team aspect and the leadership, and then I like the lion for the like the ferociousness and the like the pride aspect, and then the snake of just like coiling people up and taking the space and being controlled fast. But the true power comes in like when you, I guess, it said in the book that these animal totems have powers, and when you realize how much powers they have, and that you can use that to embody in your own life, and that's like the whole magic of a totem, right? It's like a totem is an outward manifestation of an inward belief. So if you believe that you can embody the awesome traits of this being, or this, like, whether it's the eagle, right? Like the eagle is like soars high and can see multiple opportunities, knows how to strike fast and get its target. And it's like you embody that in your own life. Like maybe you have too many opportunities and you got to like go above and pick the right one, like that kind of thing. It's like you can embody that and it can remind you of like, you know,
staying focused,
right. Or like the snake being efficient. Snakes don't waste a lot of energy. They take the space. They don't squeeze as hard as they can. They just take the space. Or like, you know, more like a poisonous snake where they like wait for the perfect moment to strike, right? They don't like go all crazy. They're just waiting and waiting. Boom, strike. And it's like you can apply these ideas into your own being, depending on what you need in each moment, you can switch. So I got the snake, which you might think is like a very ferocious type energy, but I also got moose energy, which is like a gatherer of friends and like a protector of the animal kingdom, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always resonate with the cats and panther, specifically Black Panther. And they kind of like stay in the shadows and stalk the prey and
Wakanda forever.
And yeah, they're much like waiting for the opportunity as well, and kind of like tiring the other opponent rather than exuding all their energy. So they learn the ways of the enemy, and they can use that tactic against the enemy rather than only striking head first. And they play like a more like mind-centric. But yeah, we saw it with our cat today, playing with the lizard. And now he's like, not interested. And he like pretends to walk away, and the lizard's like, run. He's like, just kidding.
Yep.
You die.
Yep.
It's like using mind games and mind tricks to efficiently and effectively attack.
And the cats too, they can be at like complete relaxation and at a full threat. Whereas like if you're, as a human, you have to be slightly tensed. You have to be like ready, and that state alone can drain all your energy. And the cat can just outweight you. Like the cat can just wait for hours and hours and just be like pacing. And at any moment it can strike you, but it's like completely calm.
And they have like hyper senses too.
And your heart rate's spiking, your muscles are tense. And it's like, yeah, you could probably be focused for an hour or 2 or 3 hours. But man, once it starts getting 4, 5, 6 hours,
and they know when you need rest.
And it just keeps pacing, and it's just pacing, and it's just pacing, and it'll just wait you out. And then the second your shoulders come down a little bit, the second your hand starts to drop a little bit, boom, it strikes. Freaking wild.
Yeah, they're definitely in tune with energies that we are not. They definitely have different frequencies, because any noise in the house, the cats sense it, or any energy shift they can sense. So they're definitely tapping into something that we're less aware of. It was saying that once you start to see your dreams, that there's a danger coming from the identification with these alchemical processes, and saying that it can prevent the archetype from flowing deeper inside of you, and that it moves in fractal patterns.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So by like deeply identifying rather than letting them flow and go and naturally like attach and detach, but like trying to hold on. Again, that grasping concept.
Yeah. So here's some of the ones that we collected. This one was a coyote from Colorado. I think it was like Walden, maybe.
Yeah, Walden, Colorado. We actually worked at a place called Howling Coyote.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I don't think this was Walden then. This was probably like a different... What was the actual name of the...
It was Walden, but there was another...
There's a bunch of different little cities, because I think the moose came from there too. So we got the moose. So yeah, so the coyote is like, you know, very smart, intelligent. They work as a team, right? And they night and pack animals.
Yeah, we experienced those out in the desert. You remember?
Oh yeah, they were out.
We were staying in, where was it? The freaking Grand Canyon or something?
We were in the Death Valley. We were in Death Valley in Las Vegas, and we heard coyotes. Like literally, one was like right next to us.
We were in a tiny little, it was like a tiny house or cabin.
Yeah, it was a little cabin. And then the moose, he's cool. He's the protector of the forest, and he's like a gatherer of friends, right? Because he protects all the little animals.
Yeah, the first trip that we took to Colorado, a huge moose came right in front of our car. And it was the middle of the night. Like, we couldn't see anything. This thing was bigger than our SUV.
I've never seen anything that big in
He
my
just
life.
stopped in the middle of the thing and just looked at us and just kept going. And I was like, holy cannoli. He could literally just throw us off the mountain.
Yeah, he could just be like, yep, I don't like you no more. And then we got the cobra. He's pretty sick. I think we got him in Colorado too.
Yeah, we got a lot of these in Colorado.
But I've always liked the snake energy.
Yeah, I had a little ladybug one.
Yeah, we had a little ladybug somewhere.
Yeah,
hanging out somewhere.
My Nana, right before she passed away on my 13th birthday. And before she passed away, she told me that if I ever see a ladybug, that it would be her reincarnated. And so every time I see a ladybug, I think about it.
Was there anything you want to wrap up with? I think we talked about everything. I wrote down here, it was like the whole thing with the light and dark. Yeah, I think it was about light, like going in, you find the light going into the dark, and then the true ascension is downward and inward. Man, I love these like little paradoxes where everyone thinks that the light is above, but really the light is downward and inward. So that's pretty cool. And I definitely believe that.
Well, I thought it was interesting. And this is something that I've heard from someone else, but it was saying that basically your heart only knows what love feels like, and this is what you follow. And like that these visualizations that we see are like blockages, things that are blocking our path. Like if it doesn't feel like love and it doesn't feel like it's coming from the heart, then maybe you should recalibrate. And yeah, that reminded me of whenever, so it was saying that we can see these in like movies, and I deeply resonate with the movie aspect, because whenever you see a Disney movie, for example, like you were saying with the little girl that you saw this past trip that you went to Pennsylvania, whenever you were watching Frozen, she could even pick up on these cues, like the love cues, like the subtle flirting, and like she didn't even know what was going on, but she can like feel something inside of her. And it's like the same thing with me whenever I watch these animated movies, and you see like all this coming together, and you're like, yeah, it just feels like right. You feel like so happy. You're like, yeah, let's go. Or like the music's just right, and you're like, everyone's coming together, and it's like perfect. It's like, that's how it should feel. And it's definitely possible. And the more that people transmute this shadow frequency of obscurity and getting in our own ways, the more that we can experience magic. And so yeah, if that can be a key reminder, it's like, does this feel right? Do you know what right feels like? It's like tap into that memory of something that you know feels right, and you can compare it, kind of give it a little more perspective. But yeah, I definitely wanted to tap on something else too. Oh yeah, so it's saying at the the acidic state that basically we get to a point where all the aspects of our nature, the unconscious aspects of our nature, get filtered through life itself. So us living our lives and through our experiences, we're filtering out all these negative genes and shadows by living and experiencing. And through this process, we're distilling down into less and less images of what we think should be the highest image. And through this process, we actually distill so far that the image becomes one. And this image is our nemesis because it is the stopping of evolution and saying at this point there's nowhere else to go. And by facing off with this demon, or what they call the doppelganger in Freudian language, it's through this process of standing toe to toe with it and existing in this space, can you transcend it? And through allowing this to flow so deeply within you, you become one with it. And at that point, you become the light. And you become like the divine energy. And we only use the term light because that's the closest thing that we can perceive as what it could be, but that it's so pure that it's just light itself. But yeah, does that make sense? Like something. So basically, like within ourselves, we have so many negative traits. Like you and I get disagreement all the time.
Honestly.
Like today, for specific comparison, we got in an argument about communication. And so he's pointing out something that I do that I'm not even aware of that I do. But I just have been doing it for so long that I'm like, it just blows past my mind as something that could be wrong because it's just the way that I communicate. And so he points it out and I'm like, oh, I guess I do that. And it's like, well, I don't know.
That's not how I went down.
Okay, well, this is the way that it should have gone down. So basically at the acidic level, you have like the uprooting of good and evil. And so the duality itself is transcended, like we were saying, with the two perspectives to the center perspective, third person perspective. And basically, so becoming more aware of these things that you're doing allows you to become a better version of yourself. And through this processing of like fine-combing, fine-tuning, as uncomfortable and as undesirable as it can seem in the moment, it is through this process that we become pure. And only through the reflections of another or something else can we even begin to understand what that means. It's like if you don't have someone that's brutally honest with you, you can't really be aware of the faults within your character because they're so deeply ingrained. And they can be so deeply ingrained that they exist from before you, that they're existing from ancestral traumas or past existences and lifetimes. And they're coming up in you so that they can be transmuted. And should be one of our objectives is to try to transmute that and try, because that aids in the collective consciousness. It's like through us filtering through ourselves, we help everyone else around us. And
through the collective subconscious elements?
And yeah, so and through this process, we go back to the Garden of Eden and we can see life through the eyes of a child. And like the playful nature and being innocent and pure. But it's basically, like we were saying, you have to go through the darkness to get to the light. And only through this process can we return back to they say Atlantean or Edenic evolution.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the same thing with the structure and the open mind. It's like first you learn structure and then you try to go back to the beginning, or of how you thought before you were ingrained in the structure.
Yeah, so it's like reforming and re-envisioning and reimagining the future. And let me see. Yeah, they were saying so the harmonic convergence happened in 1987. And the best thing that I can reimagine this as, if you haven't seen it, it's the Avatar, the animated series. And not the one with the blue people, but the Avatar, the Last Airbender. And some people are turned off by animated series, but I'm telling you, the message that comes through this is worth the watch, regardless of your preconceptions. And yeah, so the harmonic convergence happens every 10,000 years. And this is not just through this series, it's actually real in real life. Happens every 10,000 years, basically, when the good and the bad, they go to war, basically. And so in the movie The Avatar, the Vatu is the evil character, and then you have, what's the female's name? Can't really remember. But anyways, she basically becomes so weak that she's unable to keep the evil at bay. And the evil starts manifesting in the world and overtaking the world. And through the help of the Avatar, who has mastered all elements, he is able to assist her with his friends. And they come together and basically recapture the darkness and bring the world back to light. And so we had that happen. And then just recently we had the melodic resonance, 2012. And the melodic resonance is basically like astrological alignment. So everything in the entire galaxy, as we know, was in alignment. And it was saying that this deeply resonates with the 11th gene key because everything was at its core in the same resonance. And they were saying that this created a split into two different realities. And that basically the people that were envisioning the greater world and acting upon these were in one reality, and the other reality was split into their stuck patterns. And that it's a natural process that we must go through, that these genes, and they have to be basically dropped. That's how they said, but erased. Like, we no longer need them. It sounds kind of depressing in a sense, but it's basically like raise your frequency, raise your vibration so that you can ascend to these higher levels and realities. And then it says that we are moving towards the rhythmic symphony, which happens in 2027. And this is basically through the dreams that people are manifesting to the higher level consciousness. These will come into play and people will begin to live these lives, and it will become a greater reality for all through people expressing. So it's basically people that are transcending these states and getting to higher frequencies. It's going to cause like a revolution and cause people to understand that they have this light within them. And I did just recently see that in the Encanto movie, that basically a star came down from the heavens, and it allowed everyone to embrace the light that they had within themselves, that they were told didn't exist, or they like externalized their dreams to the ruler or the king, and he basically kept all these dreams repressed and only allowed certain people through certain leaps and measures to manifest their dreams. And
I thought that was Wish.
Oh, that was Wish. Yeah, Wish. So Wish, yeah. So he basically like was the holder of all dreams, and then no one was allowed to manifest their own dreams. And then they basically overthrew the king. Everyone got their dreams. And through their own power of belief, they were able to unleash their dreams and the light within them, and then they could live happier lives. They recreated the world that they live in.
Yeah, that's interesting. Man, this gene key's a trip. Yeah, well, there you have it, everybody. The 11th gene key.